For weeks now, a Confederate statue in Winston-Salem has been in the headlines.
That's right. Winston-Salem's Mayor Alan Joines ordered it to be moved, while the owners, the Daughters of the Confederacy, say it's fine where it is.
Today, another voice was thrown into the showdown. WFMY News 2's Jansen Silvers joins us live now to explain.
Well, first I want to explain something else. Let's clarify the statue, the property, and who owns it. Here's the old Forsyth County courthouse where the statue sits. Back in the day, it was a courthouse owned by Forsyth County, and the United Daughters of the Confederacy, UDC, owned the statue. But then the land and the courthouse were sold to a private business to be turned into living space. So, privately owned statue, privately owned land. And yesterday, the landowner sent the United Daughters of the Confederacy a letter saying they also want the statue removed. In the letter, the property owner says due to the controversy, media, and potential violence, they feel their residents could be in danger, and the people living there are their top priority. So they are siding with Winston-Salem's mayor, asking for the statue to be removed.
I can understand their actions and wanting to enforce their rights as a property owner to have something objectionable removed from their property. I think it certainly clarifies what we've said all along, that this is on private property, and I think their letter made it very clear that they believe they do own it.
And remember, that's really the biggest factor, because the mayor told me he believes that 2015 law that talks about not being able to move monuments only applies